guys, and welcome to another episode of Worlds Collide. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mitch.
And this is Magneto.
The villain / anti-hero of the X-Men.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to call him a supervillain? Are you going to say he's a bad guy? I think he's just misunderstood.
Well, yeah, he's not evil.
No, because he's fighting for the mutant race.
Yeah,
for his people. He's fighting for freedom.
Honestly, this is what I've always said about what makes a good villain. Like, yes, he is a villain, but what makes a good villain is somebody who he believes that what he's doing is right.
Oh, absolutely, because he knows that it's humankind or mutant kind. There is definitely a side.
Yeah.
They are split and they are losing.
Yeah.
For years, they've been looked at as the underdog, the inferior race, the scum, the disease.
Yeah.
Since he was a child, he's been subject to ridicule and prejudice.
Racism.
Do you want to touch on kind of his origin, maybe?
Yeah, so Magneto's anger towards racism and bigotry goes beyond the fact that he's a mutant. It goes way back to when he grew up in Germany as a Jewish family.
Yeah.
This was during World War II. So when World War II was happening, Germans attacked his family, killed his parents and his sister. He got away probably because of his magnetic powers, but they were still in infancy at the time. He ended up getting captured by the Nazis and got put into Auschwitz. And that's where his powers really started to emerge. And when he finally escaped Auschwitz, along with his childhood love interest, Magna, that's when his story really starts to take a turn. So that's where things starts going from bigotry towards him being a Jew in Nazi Germany versus him being a mutant amongst humankind.
Yeah, the fact his race, his heritage was no longer a question. It was, you're different than us.
Yeah, genetically.
Yeah, like physically in some way, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're a disease. You're an abomination.
Yeah.
It wasn't you're Jewish versus Nazi anymore. Like,
no,
things escalated a lot.
Yeah. Well, it escalated a lot in a story that depicted in this comic book here. It was also depicted in the movie X-Men Apocalypse. Now, X-Men Apocalypse was not terrible, but it wasn't that good. It wasn't what everybody would want for an apocalypse-based movie.
It didn't do apocalypse justice, at least.
No. But the one thing they did do right was that intro at the beginning of the movie where they show Magneto, then known as Magnus, was working in this Polish community. This was happening after World War II, after he got away from Auschwitz, and he married Magna, and they had a daughter named
Anya.
Anya, thank you. Yeah. So while he was working, his boss tried to put a fast one and try to cheap him out, and he got angry and used his powers. And that's when people found out that he was actually a mutant. So when he went back home, yada yada yada, his boss with some co-workers and some village people created and saved his wife Magna, but their daughter was still stuck in the burning building. As he was trying to go back in to save his daughter, that's when the mob got a hold of Magneto and started to beat him up and preventing him from saving his daughter, and his daughter ended up dying in the burning building.
At which point he kind of freaks out, kills everyone, kills the police, kills everyone in his way.
Yeah. And
his wife at the time sees this, and seeing his the bloodshed, seeing his outrage, seeing his rage,
the destruction, and what he's
she
capable
fears
of.
him. Yeah, she fears him, and she's like I know you did it for her, but you went too far.
Yeah. So she ends up running away from Magneto. But you find out afterwards that she was pregnant at the time for twins, and then that's where she gave birth to, or so we think, they gave birth to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Later on, all of that was retcon. I'm not a fan of this.
We'll get there though.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Let's do this in order here.
Yeah.
So we've kind of introed his upbringing, his origin, his time in the internment camps, and his pivotal turning point that made him kind of go dark side.
Yeah.
Let's touch base on kind of who he is and where he came from. So we know he's a mutant.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was born in Germany.
Yeah.
Nuremberg, Germany, I believe. What was the year here?
He was born in like 1920 something.
Yeah. In the camp he got taken to was 1939, I believe.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. And from there, he went by the name. Well, his birth name is what? Max.
His birth name was Max Eisenhardt.
And Eisenhardt stands for iron in German.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that was one of the tidbits I picked up, and I'm kind of like, okay, iron, Magneto, it's fitting, and then takes on the name Magnus.
Yeah,
as you said.
Yeah, so when he got away from Auschwitz, he met somebody who changed his identities, and he changed his name to Magnus.
Okay, and then his pseudonym that he goes by now,
Eric
Lencher,
which actually translates to Saint
Liege, Lord. Lencher is Lord, so it's Lord Iron.
Lord Iron.
So those between his two last names, his old last name Eisenhardt stand for Iron.
Yeah.
And his new last name Lencher stand for Siege or Lord.
Yeah.
Yes. Fitting for a magnet wizard.
Yeah, which is why whenever Xavier or the X-Men, even in the movies, or when they're referencing Magneto by his name, they know him as Eric Lencher. Because when Magneto first met Professor Xavier, he was already going by the name Eric Lencher.
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, obviously Xavier would know of the name.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if...
What are you wondering?
Well, he'd be able to read his mind. So,
yeah,
so even though Xavier met him as Eric Lencher, he'd know his real name would be Max.
Yeah, I bet you he does know, especially since how close friends they...
Probably just never mentioned in the comics.
Yeah.
It's just something you would assume.
Or, yeah, and he probably just, out of respect for his friend, he wants to be known as Eric Lencher, then that's what he'll be known as.
So be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that big turning point, what was Magneto's role in life?
Like after all of that?
Yeah, once Anya got killed. Once he kind of went dark side, lashed out, killed some people.
So after that, that's when he ended up going to Israel. That's where he met Xavier, where they were helping people recover from World War II. Mm-hmm. And that's where they met and became friends. And quickly, Xavier found out that Magneto was also a mutant because Xavier had difficulties reading his mind. Which is interesting because this is part I didn't know. I thought it was just his helmet that protected him from Xavier's psychic abilities, but Magneto apparently has a innate resistance to psychic intrusions.
That's handy.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably the magnetic force field.
Yeah.
Of his mind.
Yeah.
Like, magnetism is Magneto.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
After Israel, where did they go?
So from there, that's when they started to develop different ideas to recruit. I guess to protect mutant kind from humanity. Xavier had ideas of coexistence between mutants and humans, and Magneto believed that mutants were superior to humans. Homo sapiens superior.
He thought mutants should rule.
Yes.
Where the course of history kind of dictated that humans came first. Mutants were not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
They were kind of the plague, where Magneto viewed it counter to that.
Well, ultimately, what Magneto believes is that mutants are a natural evolution of humankind. And every time a race goes into extinction, it's because of mutation, evolution of the body. And whenever a body of race that are that are threatened by the possibility of extinction, they fight back. So Magneto's thinking is that once mutant kind becomes known by humanity, humanity are going to fight back against mutant kind. And Magneto felt like it was his place to be the leader to protect mutant kind against humanity, to take out humanity before humanity has a chance to take out mutant kind.
Strike first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And strike with an iron fist.
Iron indeed.
Yeah.
The fact here for when he was in the camps. Mm-hmm. So as his time spent in the German camps, he was numbered.
Yes.
As all prisoners were.
Yes.
He lost his identity for a little bit, which is probably why Eric Lencher was so easy for him to step into.
That's right.
Because Max Eisenhart probably died with his parents.
Yeah.
His number was number 214702.
Yeah.
You came to know that well. Yeah. I think they referenced it in one of the films, calling him just by his number. I think it was it Stryker?
Possibly. But they've made multiple references. Like there's one part where even just who was it he was talking? I think it was just Rogue, and he just points to his tattoo, showing that he knows above more than most, knows what it means to be segregated, to be feared, and to be oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny because as the stories of the X-Men and stories of Marvel progress throughout the years, the more and more that Magneto was right. With the creation of the Sentinels, with the Mutant Registration Act, during Civil War, the Superhuman Registration Act, all of this goes back to what Magneto's greatest fears were, which was alienation, segregation.
Treated as a second-class citizen.
Yeah. And being removed their freedom of speech, freedom of anything, being oppressed.
Freedoms. Yeah, their rights. They were taken.
Yeah.
They're stripped from them. They're thrown to the streets. They were made to enlist.
Yeah.
Made to register, made to card, essentially.
Yeah.
If you want to be a mutant in this city and live in this country,
you have to register.
Yeah, you have to tell us who you are, where you live, and what your powers are.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of powers you have, you might be deemed dangerous.
Yeah.
Now, for those deemed dangerous, what do they do?
Yeah, they would be imprisoned, usually by Sentinels. That's where the Sentinels came in. Sentinels would imprison mutants in some specialized prison that they had.
Now, this being one of our first X-Men characters that we've done, who are the Sentinels? What are these Sentinels that you're talking about?
So Sentinels are gigantic robots. Well, there's been multiple versions. The more popular version is the gigantic robots that you've seen in the cartoons.
The purple and what are they? Reddish?
Yeah, sure.
Purple and reddish?
Purple, red, pink.
Yeah, things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because Nimrod, we'll get to him probably in a later episode, but Nimrod is like the super Sentinel from like the 30th century.
Oh.
He's pink. Like straight on, he's full on pink.
All right.
And I say he because Nimrod is more man than machine, but still a machine.
He's got a personality.
It's very weird.
A persona, per se.
Yeah.
Okay. So who made the Sentinels?
Oliver Trask.
Okay, so we saw him in X-Men First Class, was it not?
No, it was in Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. Okay,
portrayed by Peter Dinklage.
Yes. And he was the one who originally got the Mystique gene to fuel the Sentinel's ability to kind of blend and mesh and protect and fight against any kind of power.
Yeah.
And now, do they have that actual ability?
To adapt to mutant powers? In the future, yes.
Okay, but in early editions of the Sentinels, they're just walking, talking robots.
That's right. Where the reason why Sentinels were so dangerous, so powerful, one Sentinel could be taken out. Like Cyclops could take on a Sentinel, Wolverine could take on a Sentinel, Gambit could take on a Sentinel. Hell, I'm pretty sure even Jubilee could take on a Sentinel. They're not powerful on their own, but the fact that there's thousands of them, they're mass produced, they're factory produced. The fact that their sheer numbers is what makes them so dangerous. They're
goddamn Zerg Rush.
Yeah. They're as tall as a building. They have powerful energy projection. They're machines, so they are durable. They have flight. They have different ways to subdue people, like knockout gas and tentacles to capture people, and they're armed to the teeth.
Like they always kind of reminded me of like all the villains mixed into one. It's like Doc Ock and Mysterio and like it's all the Spider-Man villains mixed into one.
Yeah, yeah. Which
and
you put it that way, it's kind of scary.
I'm like, what fucking Sentinels? Like, because like, does Magneto have control over these things with his magnetism control?
Yes.
That's fuck scary.
Yeah.
Because these are government made or all. Whatever Trask made him, right? For the government, essentially.
Yeah, he finds ways around it. So eventually, because Magneto is one of the most well-known mutants, and one of the most well-known power set as well, so they started to make Sentinels with like polymers and plastics and whatnot, so Magneto can't use his magnetism. But he finds ways around it.
There's always the circuits. There's always going to be some metal there.
There's something. Or, like they portrayed in Days of Future Past, if there's no metal in there, Magneto will just put metal in it.
That is true. I love that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great Magneto moments, like such as I just finished watching Dark Phoenix today.
Yeah.
Horrible movie, but like you can tell where the money went.
Yeah.
In the movie, like the scenes with Nightcrawler, awesome.
Yeah.
His poofs, and then he was being a puss the whole movie until the end fight scene when finally like people are getting hurt and he kind of loses it and all of a sudden he just kills like 5 guys.
Yeah.
You see his like tail kill one, tail neck snaps another, like he's poof 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 poof. That's where the money went. Yeah. And then Phoenix, where you see Jean doing all her effects and getting Sansa Stark to play Jean Grey, I was like not a big fan of either. That's kind of another like So poor character choice, poor whatever. Storm. At one point, they had her effects doing the lightning, and it looked so corny, so cheesy.
That's too bad.
But when Magneto came in at one point,
yeah,
I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And like, Jean shows up to this little outband post that Magneto has, full of other mutants. Basically, after something happened, she came there to reconcile, ask for help, and she was kind of trying to dig for information. She wasn't telling them the whole story. Blah blah blah. U.S. forces came in looking for Jean. Magneto's coming for it first. When all of a sudden, she turns on, like they've dropped in 2 helicopters, and then one of them, they fire up the chopper blades, and the guy starts yelling at Magneto, like, cut that out. Thinking Magneto's doing it because it's metal. Yeah. He's like, it's not me. Like, they're like, cut it out. All of a sudden, she's like, no, it's me. Like, and she starts, and like, basically blows up the chopper, makes it side tilt. Propeller blades are flying everywhere. One almost goes right at Magneto, and he just sidesteps it. And all of a sudden, then there's the other chopper, and basically Jean's like lost at this point. Like Phoenix is taking over, trying to kill everyone, and she takes the other helicopter and starts trying to shake it and do the same thing to it. And there's a whole bunch of soldiers already on it. Magneto is like, no, fuck this. I'm not letting you do this twice. Starts fighting her back. So he's trying to control the metal helicopter. She's trying to control the metal helicopter. His magnetism versus her telepathy, her psychic power. And he's basically yelling at the other officer, like, I cannot hold her back. Like, she is going to win this. Get the fuck on that chopper and get the hell out of here, or you're all dead. And you see basically Jean just pushing, and Magneto pushing. It was just a great moment to watch their 2 powers.
Yeah.
Like, and Magneto knew, he's like, fuck, she's strong, she's gonna win.
Yeah.
Right? And then finally the soldiers jump in the plane and Magneto just goes, boom, and like bats this helicopter and it goes whipping off and she's safe. And then it's him and her. And he's like, you get the fuck out of here. You know? Like, I'm not helping you, you get lost. So the parts with Magneto were good.
So, sorry.
I want to thank you, Navari.
Thank you.
Thanks for the subscription there.
That's it. Nobody ask any questions?
He also said he Dark Phoenix and watching this fight.
Ask him okay, so what are your thoughts on Dark Phoenix? What was your highlights and what was a negative point of the film? Give me one pro, one con.
I have not seen it yet.
And that's okay. That's okay. I'll lend it to you tonight. You can bring it back tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got Cody. I'll just watch it on Cody.
There you go.
Yeah. No, today I spent my time watching a better movie. I spent my time watching X-Men, rewatching X-Men First Class.
See, I was gonna start there, but I'm like, you know what? I've seen that. I've seen that once or twice, and it's great. I don't need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
From Magneto's scenes in the bar.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. When he throws the dagger and brings it back, yeah, it's so good.
So good,
yeah.
so good. All the way through to the end. Like Magneto's brilliant in that.
Yeah.
Compared to Phoenix, it's like I don't know what the hell they did with the series.
Yeah.
It started strong. It came through okay and finished just so goddamn poorly.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
This is twice they've flopped on this.
Yeah. Although I have to say though, like when we talked about Doctor Doom, they've had some bad portrayals of Doctor Doom.
Yep.
When we talked about the Phoenix, they've had bad portrayals of Phoenix.
Oh fuck, Ian McKellen.
Ian
Ian McKellen, who plays Gandalf, and he also plays Magneto.
Nails it.
Nails it in both performances. Yep. Like I wouldn't give Gandalf to another actor, and I wouldn't give Magneto to another actor. Yep. Michael Fassbender does an okay job. An okay job filling in the younger role. Yeah. One of the things I was finding though when I was looking up online, so Michael Fassbender is Scottish. Mm-hmm. Ian McKellen, English. Mm-hmm. So in X-Men First Class, if you watch it, Michael Fassbender actually has a Scottish role, I believe. A Scottish accent.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then he adjusts it for later in Days of Future Past because Magneto as Ian McKellen is in the movie, and Magneto as Michael Fassbender is in the movie. So he had to adjust his accent for that movie.
Yeah.
Which is something I kind of thought was funny, and I haven't gone back to look at yet. But for those of you who do want to watch and try and pay attention for the accent change.
I'm terrible for accents, so to me they all sound the same.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I might not notice. I might watch it and be like, yeah, didn't fucking see it.
Like if I hear an Irish accent versus a Scottish accent, to me they're the same thing.
They replied back. Thought Dark Phoenix was okay, nothing special. The outside fight where they were going to kill her was deep.
Right. They saved all the wow for right at the end, just like they always. The outside fight in the street was better because then at the end it was this like train bullshit and meh.
Yeah.
As you know, Phoenix kind of wrecks everything at the end, goes into space and boom.
Yeah. I want to talk about some amazing feats Magneto has done.
Okay, let's hear it. All right.
So yeah, because when you were talking about like Phoenix versus Magneto, they were like fighting, opposing each other, and he admits that she's gonna overpower him. Just to put that in perspective, things that Magneto has done. Now in the movies, he's done some pretty amazing things. Like when he lifted the bridge, and
he's lifted the bridge.
Yeah,
he lifted the boat.
Yeah, and he lifted the entire stadium in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and then with Apocalypse, doesn't he lifting like pyramids and shit?
Possibly. I have only seen the movie once. It bored the hell out of me. I didn't like it.
He's doing some cool stuff in that one too, because that's when he becomes one of his
horsemen,
and then he betrays him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But
in the comics, so here's some of the things he's done.
Okay.
All right. So starting off with something a little bit smaller, but it was a pivotal point in comics history. Was during the series. I actually had this series. It was called. Give me a second here. This series was called. God damn it!
I know he had the ability to basically
Fatal Attractions.
Pull all the metal from your body. Basically, pull all the iron in your blood.
You could create a heart attack.
You can create a heart attack, yes, in a body based on manipulating the iron in your body. He can also extract it, as we saw in the original trilogy of X-Men.
Yeah, they actually injected that guard with lead. So not quite the same,
but similar. He still has the ability to do that and basically extract it and be able to whip around.
And Days of Future Past, and first class, he pulls out that gold tooth out of that guy's mouth.
Yes.
But in Fatal Attractions, that's where Magneto rips
Wolverine.
Wolverine's adamantium out of his body, right off his bones.
And he does that after a fight breaks out. So
Yeah.
I think Wolverine gets him with like a mortal wound, gashing his stomach.
He was going for the kill.
Oh yeah, and like he hit, he
Yeah.
connected, and I don't think Magneto dies from it.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't, but he's pissed.
Yeah.
Like when that happens, he turns around and just rips it from his body.
Yeah.
The only thing that kept Wolverine alive was Jean Grey holding his body together.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, like psychic powers, keeping the bones together,
Yeah.
keeping the skin on.
The act of removing the adamantium from his body, the way that Magneto did, overtaxed Wolverine's regeneration, where for a time he had no more regeneration. Every time that was the first time you ever saw bone claws, because until Fatal Attractions, the story was Wolverine's claws came when he got the adamantium fused to his bones. The claws were not part of his mutation. They're just something that happened when the adamantium got fused to his bones. But when Magneto took the adamantium from his bones, he still had his claws, but they were bone claws. But now that he no longer has regeneration, every time he pulls out his bones, they don't regenerate. So they hurt like hell every time, and he has to bandage himself up every time because they bleed. They repuncture his skin every time,
And they kept that in the continuity.
Yeah, for quite a while actually. I think for about a year he went out without any regeneration at all.
And when he even got it back, though, because I remember in the movies him saying it hurts every time.
Yeah.
Like that was the original X-Men. Like him and Rogue meeting at the bar. You know, she sees him finally pull it out, and she's asking him questions as he's driving, and she sees the little slits on his knuckles, and she's like, so like, tell me about it. And he's like, she's like, does it hurt? And every time, you know, every time I feel it.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, because then they change it in, I believe it was the Wolverine original one, Origins of Wolverine, with him and Sabretooth, right?
Yeah.
Because it's him as a kid, he's got the bone claws.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought from that, he always grew up as a kid having the bone claws and having the regenerations.
Yeah.
And then they gave him the adamantium.
Yeah.
And then what? It didn't hurt anymore. It was good.
No, well, I mean, his regeneration makes it so that they hurt every time, but regeneration makes it so that he doesn't have open wounds. But when he loses regeneration, well, it pops out his claws and then puts him back in again.
Oh, so he'd be fighting without any regeneration.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And he had to do that for about a year.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck, this is what it's like, huh? Taking bullets and shit. Being like, feeling like the Punisher for a year.
Yeah. So, like I said, that was a smaller feat.
Oh, yeah.
So, some of the bigger things that Magneto has done. Asteroid M. Asteroid M alone is quite the amazing feat. Asteroid M is a meteor that he keeps. I'm pretty sure it's actually an island that used to be on Earth. He brought it into space and keeps it in orbit. He keeps it in orbit. In Earth's orbit.
That's pretty unreal.
Yeah.
Like, just the magnetic fields of the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being able to tap into that.
Yeah.
And being able to extract this fucking island from the ground, like from Earth, up thousands of however high into space.
Yeah.
And living there. And how's he breathe on Asteroid M?
Well, it's just his electromagnetic fields.
That's what I mean. Like, he also creates air.
Yeah.
A pocket of air on his island.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, just for people to understand the magnitude of what the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
What Asteroid M is.
Yeah.
And then he basically makes it a safe haven.
Yeah. For himself and for his acolytes.
Now, we kind of skipped a bit there. What acolytes? What League of Evil?
All right. So his first team was the horribly named League of Evil Mutants.
Very honest, though.
Yes. Not Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I hate the name. Because
I think everyone hates it.
Why would you call yourself the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? They don't see themselves as evil, so why would they call themselves the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? It's a terrible name, a product of its time from the 1960s comics. They're the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. But really, why would they call themselves the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants?
That sounds like Jonah Jameson in the fucking newspaper article being like, "Oh, article of the day, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants." Like, he's naming them.
Exactly.
Right? Like, this isn't a name they would take for themselves.
But the Brotherhood of Mutants, that's a more apt name for them.
Oh, absolutely.
I like that a lot better.
No, that's not a real thing.
But no. Or just call them the Brotherhood.
Eh.
Even though they're not all guys. So the original lineup of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants was actually Mastermind, who later becomes a member of the Hellfire Club. You'll remember I talked about Mastermind. He was one who was manipulating Jean Grey into bringing out the Phoenix to convince her that she was married to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one who has the ability to manipulate your five senses. Yeah, so Mastermind was an original member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Toad, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. And at the time, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch did not know that Magneto was their father.
Oh, they didn't, but he did.
Yeah.
Well, which we later find out he's not actually
Their father.
Yeah. Some other dude.
Actually, turns out they were never actually born. They were genetically created by the High Evolutionary.
Who the High Evolutionary?
High Evolutionary is a dude. I think he is a space dude, like not a celestial, but like he's a
space god essentially.
Yeah, and he has the ability to jumpstart evolutions.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just like, these are things.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote something else out about the High Evolutionary. He did something else.
So it originally started as Magneto and the four sidekicks, essentially Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Toad, and Mastermind.
Yeah.
And then who did we get added to this Brotherhood of Mutants?
Oh, well, from there, the roster changes. Like Mystique joins them, Blob joins them, Avalanche joins them, Pyro joins them. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch leaves them and joins the Avengers.
Yeah.
Eventually, Mystique, Avalanche, Pyro, and Blob form their own team and become kind of like government hired supervillains doing good things, kind of thing. So
weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. It was a short-lived thing, but yeah.
Yeah, they gotta try new shit every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Has Juggernaut ever?
I think Juggernaut has been a member of the Brotherhood. Sabretooth must have been a member of the Brotherhood.
At some point, yeah.
Black Tom Cassidy, pretty sure was a member of the Brotherhood.
Magneto's got some high points in his history.
Yeah,
like he's done some cool stuff. Fought fucking everybody.
Yeah, he's been a member. He's been aside from being a villain of the X-Men, he's also fought the Avengers numerous times. He's fought the Defenders. He's fought Spider-Man. He's fought a lot of different people.
He's fought Iron Man. Iron Man's built a suit just to go against Magneto.
Yeah. So, okay, going back to exploits of Magneto. Speaking of Avengers, some other big feats of power by Magneto.
Lay it on me.
Magneto has the ability to control Cap's shield. Magneto also has the ability to control Mjolnir.
Now these are things that changed over the years in the comics, because originally he could not.
No, usually he could. Their first meeting, it shows Magneto having like the Avengers, and they're like, you see Thor's like, by Odin's beard, he's controlling my hammer, kind of thing.
But Cap's shield, no, I didn't think.
I'm not too sure.
I think Thor's hammer, yeah, but I think originally Cap's shield was a no-go, and it kind of stumped him, and he was like, magic.
See, I don't see why not though, because Cap's shield is partially made out of adamantium.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's partially adamantium. It's a hybrid of adamantium, vibranium, carbon, and some unknown material. So
maybe, because I know later in comics they made it so he could.
Yeah.
But when I was doing some research, I came across the fact that originally he couldn't. Mm. Later they changed it so he could. So maybe, I know Mjolnir, yeah, probably. Yeah. Fuck yeah,
yeah, multiple times actually, in multiple versions. Because there's a story that happened in the Ultimate Universe where he does it again.
Oh, Thor must be getting pissed.
Now, in 2 different realities, Magneto's taking control of Mjolnir.
Yeah. What other exploits and what other notable moments has Magneto had here?
Trying to think here of other. There was a time where he created a machine that amplified his powers. Then, with those amplified powers, he destroyed the. What did I write that? Once destroyed the polar magnetic fields.
So, like, there's no gravity on Earth?
Yeah, well, there's no north and south. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just be spinning.
Yeah.
Lost at sea forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what's the storyline where him and Xavier fuse together, essentially? Who do they become?
Onslaught.
Okay, tell me about the Onslaught storyline, because I came across it a number of times.
Yes, there's 2 different versions of
Not
Onslaught.
too detailed, though.
All right. So, and I can't go into much detail because I read some of the first Onslaught, and I read the beginnings of the second Onslaught, but I don't have the full story of both. But the TLDR is Onslaught is a being that was created by the dark inner mechanisms of Magneto and Xavier. So the evil parts of Magneto and the evil parts of Xavier, they both have a very dark side.
Yes, they do.
Something happened with Xavier where he unleashed a psychic blast, which created Onslaught. It just took the evil parts of Magneto and the evil parts of himself and created Onslaught.
Just took their dark souls out of them and just
yeah.
Onslaught's bored.
Yeah, and Onslaught took on the entire Marvel universe. Earth, the entire Marvel, all of Marvel's Earthbound beings. He took them all on. It took Franklin Richards to defeat Onslaught. When you first find Onslaught, when you first find out about Onslaught, they found Juggernaut because he got knocked miles. Like you see Juggernaut. And like he's beaten up, and all he says is Onslaught. Pretty much, yeah.
Who did this? Onslaught.
Yeah.
Who took your money?
That's the Juggernaut, right? So we'll do an episode on the Juggernaut, but just
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, but Juggernaut is it's not a lot of people could do that to Juggernaut, but Onslaught did. And
Franklin Richards, we haven't touched base on him really yet.
We talked about him. We talked about him when we talked about Galactus.
Yeah, so he's Reed Richards' son, and he's just like one of the Omegas. Like he
can rewrite reality. He creates his own reality.
He's probably one of the strongest beings in existence.
Yes,
in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
and it took him to bring Onslaught to an end. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Yeah, now, Onslaught didn't make you powerless, I don't think, because he's an Earthbound creature.
Yeah.
And we're talking Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So where was
he's still powerful though? Like I'd rank him above Apocalypse.
Oh wow.
I'd probably even rank him above Thanos.
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He's a serious power.
So did Magneto and did Xavier become Onslaught, or is Magneto and is Xavier, and they're trying to fight Onslaught as well?
It's Magneto is Magneto, Xavier, and Onslaught is Onslaught.
Okay.
But they didn't fuse together like Voltron.
Or I'm thinking like Goku, Vegeta here.
Yeah,
like, no. What is happening?
No fusion dance happened.
Okay, thank God. Well, for one, we know Xavier can't dance.
No.
He's kind of bound to that wheelchair a little bit.
Yeah.
You keep fucking up the moves.
But yeah, so that was Onslaught version 1.
Okay, so what happened in version 2?
So version 2 happened after Avengers vs. X-Men, after Cyclops ended up killing Xavier. So Xavier is dead now. And then what happened was Red Skull found Xavier's body and used Nazi magic science that Red Skull has access to and got Xavier's powers. So now you have the Red Skull
like strong
with Xavier's powers.
Red Skull's essentially Captain America,
Pretty much.
with a red face.
Pretty much.
And now he's just psychic.
That's
Captain
right.
America with a red face.
An Omega level psychic.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then with Red Skull with Xavier's powers, Onslaught got reborn and became Red Onslaught.
No.
Yeah. Onslaught came back, and then Red Skull with Xavier's powers merged with Onslaught, becoming the Red Onslaught.
And you don't know how they shut it
I didn't
down
actually. I know of the story. I didn't read the story because that was when finances got tight. So that was when I was reading comics very heavily.
Yeah.
But finances got really tight, and I couldn't collect comics anymore.
So how you said you know the story end?
No, I don't know how the story ends.
All right. So
well, I know
future
they beat
episodes.
him. I know they beat him.
Well, we can surmise that.
Yeah.
The universe still stands.
Yes. Yes.
So that'll be a maybe future episode. We'll do an Onslaught episode for sure.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of tie everything in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Magneto, Zorn.
Okay. Zorn is pretty cool. Zorn by himself is pretty OP as well. So Zorn originally was this guy. He's got a really creepy skull mask, first of all.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, dominatrix, like, Bane-looking skull mask.
Yeah. It was almost like his lips were sewn shut kind of thing. And
it's like a mix between Star-Lord's face mask and Bane's face mask.
Yeah. Yeah. But Zorn, I think originally Zorn became a member of the X-Men, then betrays them all by killing a bunch of innocent humans.
Okay. That'd be a good way to start.
Yeah. And then people find out that Zorn was actually Magneto pretending to be Zorn. But then that got retconned afterwards, saying that it wasn't Magneto at all. The entire time the Zorn incident happened, Magneto was off in Genosha doing his own thing while Zorn was doing its thing. And Zorn was actually his own being that was being controlled by some other person that I've never heard of before.
And then when Zorn died,
yeah, another Zorn showed up.
His twin brother.
Yeah.
This is where things get really fucking weird.
Yeah. Now, I did have the comic with his twin brother, so I didn't read the first run with Zorn, so I don't know who Zorn was when I got this one comic. I think it was an Astonishing X-Men. But anyways, the X-Men ended up having to go up against Zorn's twin. This was in Japan, actually, when this was happening. Or was it in China? Somewhere in the Orient. And Zorn was... So Zorn, his power is if you take off his helmet, if you take off his mask, his face...
is a living star.
Yes.
He is a living star.
Yes. And pretty much creates he
creates black holes.
Yeah, he's a black hole. He sucks in all matter. So, OP.
Which made me really confused how Magneto pulled off pretending to be Zorn. It's like, has Zorn ever shown his face? Is that how Zorn gets around, wearing this mask, and everyone's like, Zorn, don't take your mask off.
I'm not too sure.
Right? Because I imagine that's what must have happened. Magneto ran around with Zorn's mask on, and everyone's like, oh yeah, don't take off the mask. And Magneto's like, it's just me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that wasn't Magneto. They thought it was, I don't know why.
Well, it was. And then somehow it turned out it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that, yeah. So everyone thought it was Zorn.
Yes.
Then it turned out Magneto was impersonating Zorn.
Yes.
Then it turned out Magneto wasn't actually impersonating Zorn. Zorn was Zorn.
That's right.
Zorn died.
That's right.
Zorn's twin brother Zorn comes.
That's right.
And then, I don't know.
Yeah, because comics are weird.
Yeah, and that's the Zorn storyline.
That was as confusing for us to tell it as it was for you guys to hear it. So if you guys that didn't make any sense to you guys, don't worry about it.
Perfect.
It barely makes sense to us.
You're on the same page as us. Zero.
Yeah. So there's been other shenanigans like that with Magneto, though. With Joseph.
There's been a lot of shenanigans. I thought you were gonna mention something else. Let's talk about Joseph.
Okay. Well, actually, now let's go back in further. Okay, so let's get into Magneto.
How did Joseph happen?
Yeah. So all right, so let's go into the shenanigans that is Magneto. So
he's actually way older than he looks.
Well, yeah, I mean, like he was born in 1920 or whatever. He was in Auschwitz. He was in World War II. So he born in 1920. We are now in 2000. We're nearing 2020. So he'd be 100 years old right now.
Yeah, he looks pretty good for not being a day over like 60.
Yeah. So what happened was there was a story that happened where Magneto got technology from the core of the earth. In Marvel Comics, there is a natural civilization that lives in the core of the earth. They were found out in Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four ends up going to the core of the earth numerous times. There's like lava people that live there.
They're the travelers. They find the mole people. They find
That's
the
right.
lava people. They go into outer space and found powers. Like they just travel around and find weird shit.
That's right. But anyways, Magneto got a hold of technology from the people who live at the core of the earth. Using that technology, he ends up creating the perfect mutant. Called him Alpha.
Oh yes, and he's basically he can do anything.
Yeah.
But he's very primitive intellect.
That's
very,
right.
Very low thinking. Can't really think for himself.
That's right.
Magneto just pulls the strings, puppets, and manipulates him.
That's right. But
for a bit,
they didn't last very long.
No.
In quick time, Alpha ends up developing self-awareness and then started to realize that, hey, the X-Men aren't evil. Magneto is evil.
Well, it was during his increased intelligence and his heightened awareness that the X-Men tried convincing him that look into Magneto's mind and look for his true intention. Look what he's really trying to make you do here. He's manipulating you, bending you to an evil will. We are not the evil one. He is, because he had him convinced that the X-Men were bad.
Yeah.
And so the Alpha quickly turns on him and goes, bah!
Yeah. So Alpha uses powers on Magneto and turns him and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants into infants.
Babies. They all become babies.
Yeah. And then Xavier ends up giving baby Magneto to Moira McTaggart.
And Moira, before, taking care of him and handing him off to someone else, clones him.
No, she doesn't clone him. She's not the one who clones him.
Oh, who clones him?
Her name is...
I thought it was Moira.
No, Moira ends up... so Moira, in the care of Moira, she does some testing on Magneto. Finds out that his mutant powers has an effect on his mentality. The more he uses his powers, the more mentally unstable he gets. So she ends up altering his genes so that when he uses powers, he didn't do that anymore. But when Magneto became adult again, we'll go over that in a minute.
He was much weaker.
His powers reset back to zero. So everything she did to his genes didn't take into effect. Didn't do anything. His powers just reset everything back to status quo.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, he was cloned by... Didn't I write it?
It was a lady.
Yeah, it was a chick who was a member of the Brotherhood. Astra, a former member of the Brotherhood, who was actually looking to kill Magneto, ends up creating a clone of Magneto, call him Joseph. So you know how in Fatal Attractions I had mentioned how he pulled the adamantium from
Wolverine's skeleton, yeah.
Yeah. So this wasn't when he was an infant. So we're jumping back and forth. Let's go back to when he was an infant.
Okay.
So when he was an infant, just before the Dark Phoenix thing happened, remember me talking about Eric the Red, Lilandra's brother from the Shi'ar?
Yes.
He ends up using some Shi'ar technology to bring Magneto back to adulthood, but not to being like an old man, but being at his physical prime, so like in his 30s. So that's why Magneto looks younger in the comics than what he actually is. He looks like he's a man in his 40s because he was turned into an infant, then brought back to his physical prime by Eric the Red.
Because he was reaching like his end time. Like his powers were waning. He was getting weak when he was turned into an infant.
Yeah.
And so he was probably like getting to be 60, 70, 80 at that point.
Yeah.
Got back to zero. So he gained maybe 30 or 40 years on his life.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So the Joseph thing happened after Fatal Attractions.
Okay.
So in Fatal Attractions, after he pulled the adamantium from Wolverine's bones, Xavier freaked out on Magneto, blasted him with a major psychic attack, which put him into a coma. While in a coma, that was when Astra found Magneto, and she was the one. She was looking to kill Magneto, but before she kills him, she goes to bring him back from his coma. But before she does that, she created a clone of Magneto and called him Joseph.
Yes.
And I believe Joseph ends up joining the X-Men.
For a bit.
Yeah, Joseph ends up teaming up with the X-Men to fight against Magneto. And Joseph ends up dying against Onslaught, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I think you are right, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and Joseph's basically he's Magneto.
Yeah, just younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. More shenanigans involving Magneto.
I think is that everything. He's been cloned. He's been a baby. He's
talk about House of M.
How do we forget about House of M?
So in House of M, I've made many mentions of House of M. I don't know if I will do an episode of House of M. I might as well because I've talked. I don't know if there's a point because I've talked about House of M a lot because it's a good story and it was a very pivotal moment. But in House of M, if you haven't checked that out in our previous episodes, in House of M, that was when Scarlet Witch lost her mind, rewrote reality where mutants were the majority and humanity were the minority. And Magneto was the leader of the mutant kind in House of M. At the end of House of M, Magneto finds out it was Quicksilver that manipulated Scarlet Witch into creating this reality. When Magneto finds out about this, he kills his son. He kills Quicksilver, and that's where Scarlet Witch says the
no more mutants.
The snap, pretty much. The
mutant snap.
The mutant snap. Yeah, she says no more mutants, and Magneto lost his powers among all the other mutants.
Is that when it literally went to 0 mutants?
Or
wasn't that when it went down to
198? 198.
And Magneto was one of the ones who lost his?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who kept it?
Cyclops, Storm, quite a few. Gambit lost his. I think Iceman lost his for a bit, but he got his back somehow. And then something else happened to Iceman where he went from having no powers to get his powers back to being stuck in ice form.
Permanently.
Yeah, and then
we'll do an Iceman episode.
Yeah,
we'll do an Iceman episode.
But anyways, Magneto was one of the ones who lost his powers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because I wonder how long that would have spanned his comic run.
I'm not too sure, but he ended up getting his powers back from the High Evolutionary. That was the other thing that I wrote down about the High Evolutionary. The High Evolutionary is the one who gave Magneto his powers back.
Wow, okay, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I lost my powers. Oh, here's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lost my key.
Yeah. So, in all new, all different Marvel.
Yep.
So they've rebooted everything, as we've mentioned in previous comics, in previous episodes, where all new, all different. It was Marvel's way to reboot everything, bring everything back to a fresh new start. And Magneto's back to being anti-hero. He's the leader of a group of mutants that are, I think, members of the mutant group are the members elude me. I didn't write it down, but he's actually part of not evil. They're actually good guys.
Well, in the show The Gifted, right? What is the one Polaris?
Oh, we haven't talked about Polaris. Polaris is his daughter, legit daughter. Yeah. Yeah,
and
because
she has the control of magnetism. Just
that's right.
Like him.
Not as powerful as him, but
not
she does have the same powers as him. Yeah,
more anger.
Yeah,
she's an angrier person.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Polaris for a long time. She was a member of X Factor or X Force. I think she was part of X Factor.
And then the Hellfire Club, does she join it?
No,
like she does in The Gifted.
No.
No. Change the story on there.
Also, spoiler: I haven't gotten that far.
She doesn't do that.
I've only watched season 1. I haven't watched season 2 yet.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
In season 2.
Yeah. That's next on my. I need to finish watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then I'll finish watching Gifted.
Yeah, Agents of Shield's going strong here. I took a little hiatus because World of Warcraft Classic came out. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it all. But and we haven't talked about the most important part about who Magneto is.
Let's talk about that, and then we have another thing to talk about. Some of the movies.
Sure.
Because we missed his first run.
Yeah. All right. So the most important part of Magneto's character is his influence, or who influenced his creation.
You tell.
So when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby first created Xavier and Magneto, Xavier was based off of Martin Luther King, the more peaceful coexistence idea, non-violent, let's live in harmony. And Magneto was based off of Malcolm X, where he didn't believe that there was a possibility of peaceful coexistence or a peaceful resolution, that force was needed to attain what they wanted, which was equality.
Yeah. Two pivotal characters of history, both fighting for rights and freedoms, and the downturn of prejudice and the upturn of speech.
Yeah,
and that's pivotal.
Yeah,
pivotal. Yeah, they show it well. They clash. Mm-hmm. They work together. They're always trying to be friends and buddies. They're never trying to kill each other per se.
No.
But they're always trying to one up each other.
Yeah, they have opposing ideas to the same result. They both want the same thing, but they have different ways of doing it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Which is why I don't think Magneto is really a bad guy. He's as much of a bad guy as Xavier, but I don't think Xavier's that nice of a person either, to be honest with you guys.
Xavier's done some bad stuff.
Yes, we'll do an episode on him too.
You know what? Who do we got next week? We got Penny. Black Canary.
Cool.
Okay. Followed up here. We'll give up the next 4 weeks roster. So we have Black Canary. So that'll be first week of October, if I am correct. 5th. October 5th, we got Black Canary, followed by Jessica Jones.
That's going to be a fun one.
The 12th?
12th. And Joker on the 19th.
Joker on the 19th. That'll be fitting, considering it'll be about 2 weeks after the Joker comes out here.
Yeah.
So we'll get to talk about that. Hopefully, spoilers might drop. You've been warned. We'll try and
FYI,
behave.
I might not be able to go see the movie.
Oh, well then.
Because I just can't afford it.
We'll do something about that, guys. We'll get a GoFundMe here for
this. And then Doctor Strange on the 6th, 26th.
Okay, so next 4 weeks we got Black Canary.
It's got some fun ones coming.
We got Jessica Jones. We got Joker and
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Got some fun ones.
Okay, let's get freaky with it over the next 4 weeks here, guys. So tell your friends, tell your family, come and give us a look. We got lots of episodes up on YouTube now. We got 1 through I think 19 or 20 almost. And then we'll have the next few up in the next few days here. Going on episode 22 next week. Hit us up on Twitch, hit us up on YouTube, hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. And what else do we have to cover here? So we got some movie talk.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we talked about how we liked Ian McKellen's portrayal of Magneto. He did a fantastic job. Also, we liked Michael Fassbender's portrayal of Magneto, especially in First Class.
Oh, absolutely. That was the best one.
Yeah.
Because he had to kick it off well.
Yeah.
Now, something I heard of him, a comment he made of doing the more recent movies for X-Men.
Yeah.
He felt like he did a poor job acting in them. He felt like he was just shouting all his lines.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bought it. I felt like, they made him yell and scream and emotional a lot. But
I don't blame him. I blame the writers. I would blame the producers. I blame the directors.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the director for First Class is not the same director from all the other ones. Bryan Singer is the one who did Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. I don't know if Bryan Singer did Dark Phoenix. I don't think he did. No, it's the same guy who did
the first
X-Men 3, X-Men United, or X-Men Last Stand. Yeah, X-Men. Same guy who did X-Men Last Stand did X-Men Dark Phoenix.
No more chances for him.
No, I mean, like, why would you do that? It was a terrible showing the first time around. What do you think he's going to do better the second time around?
That's just lazy. They're like, oh, he's done this project before. Here, can I copy your work? Like, fuck.
And Bryan Singer's a good director. One of my all-time favorite movies is Usual Suspects. And I like I said last week, I liked Superman Returns. That was also Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer did the first two X-Men, and then he did X-Men Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past was good. Not as good as First Class, but it was really, really good. Apocalypse bored the hell out of me. I really didn't like Apocalypse.
That's fair. Apocalypse wasn't done justice to the character,
No,
neither were his horsemen.
No.
So,
no.
They gave us some cool characters.
Yeah.
They introduced and some cool future past scenes
Yeah.
that they had. Alright, like they had some cool elements, but overall, I expected more.
Yeah.
Just like with Dark Phoenix. I knew going into that not to expect more, but like, come on, I expect more from the fucking X-Men.
Yeah, no. When people started saying it was worse than Last Stand, like, okay, I'm not going to see that.
See, I like the Jean Grey that they got in the first trilogy.
Famke.
I can't remember her damn name.
She's got a weird name. But yeah, I like her too.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, I like her too.
She's got the nice and sweet.
Yeah.
And then the Spitfire Red, I will fucking burn your soul in hell.
She portrayed Jean Grey really well.
That's what I mean. She had the passive calm. She had the storm that came. Like, she was the Phoenix.
Yeah. It's just the movies are poorly written, poorly directed.
And at the time, I loved those two.
Yeah.
I loved those two.
Yeah. But bring it back to Magneto, though, I really don't have a complaint about Magneto.
No, I love him as a character. In the movies, it doesn't matter who it's been done by. I always felt Magneto.
Done a good job.
Oh, I always felt Magneto was a pivotal character. He's always the main plot driver.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, other than Stryker.
Yeah.
But Magneto still always has his role to play. He's always still like part of the conflict.
Yeah.
Part of the reaction and the event.
Yeah.
Right? And he's always driving that force into the X-Men of pick a side.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier and mine. Who are you fighting for? And I love that.
Yeah.
He causes that diversity in the group and he makes you question, what side am I fighting for?
Yeah.
Am I making the right choice here? And I love that about Magneto.
Yeah. Yeah. He presents an alternate option. If you disagree with the way Xavier is doing things, well, you have Magneto.
Yeah, have you thought about this other way?
Yeah.
I love that. All right. I think that's all we got on Magneto.
Yeah. He's great. I haven't seen a bad portrayal of Magneto. I'm talking even like the 90s animated show. He was portrayed really well in those.
Oh, yeah.
He was portrayed well in Wolverine and the X-Men. He was portrayed well in... I think the other show was called X-Men Unlimited. That was another animated show. He's always been portrayed very well. I haven't seen a bad portrayal of Magneto. I think in the end, he's not that difficult character to get.
No. Costume's fairly simple.
Yeah.
His power doesn't have any special visual effects, so he's always easy to draw and write and cast for.
Yeah. His motivation is very easily portrayed because, just sum it up the way I just said it. Malcolm X, but mutants. Go. Most people could do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They hate us. Fight them.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's why Magneto has always been he's always been well portrayed. It's not that he's not a complicated character. It's not that he's a simple character. He's by far not a simple character. He's one of the most layered and complicated characters in Marvel.
He's an ogre.
But he's much simpler to relate to than somebody like Doctor Doom.
Yeah, because he's got the inner turmoil. He's got all the vengeance. Like, he's always got the path of vengeance.
Yeah.
And he's got the resentment. And he's got the hate. And he's got everything he needs to fuel that fire of rage.
I think that's what makes him such an easy character to portray, is that he's more relatable than most other villains.
And that was another thing that Ian McKellen had said in interviews that he had done for X-Men.
Yeah.
Because when he first got offered the role to play Magneto, he had no interest in playing someone with the powers of magnetism and playing a mutant or playing a villain or a hero.
Yeah.
Had no fucking care. What interested him was the diversity, the oppression.
Yeah.
That's what interested, because Ian McKellen had just recently came out as a gay man.
Yeah.
Just a few years before doing the first X-Men. Yeah. And he said, you know what, Magneto, done.
Yeah. And X-Men is more than just a representation of bigotry against racism, but it's also been highly regarded as a representation of the
LGBTQ, all the letters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because once again, they just represent oppression. They represent outcasts, people who are not of the status quo norm.
Yeah, absolutely. You're an X-Men. X-Men means not part of the civilization. It's Xavier's men.
Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. That makes sense. That actually makes me a little bit happy about that.
Yeah, it was good, huh?
Yeah.
So, if you guys got any questions, feel free to always ask us during our chats here in the Twitch chat channel. And other than that, check out our YouTube videos. Leave some comments there. And tell your friends. Hopefully we got some more content coming your way for the next many years to come.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to see or hear about a event, character, or a topic in particular that isn't in Marvel or DC universe, feel free to let us know, because we do step outside the bounds once in a while.
Yeah.
We've done...
We're going to be doing an episode of Naruto soon.
Yep. Naruto will be coming, and we'll be getting a special guest in here, hopefully, for that, Shauna. Please don't go. And then other than that, we've done Scott Pilgrim so far with Kenny.
Yeah.
And we've done Sabrina as well.
And I'd like to do one on
Sin City. We're gonna do.
We're gonna do Sin City, and I also want to do one on Why the Last Man, and I also want to do one on Fables.
There you go, guys. We got the list going on and on. So if there's anyone that you in particular want to see or hear about, let us know.
Yeah.
All right. So later.
See you guys next week.
Take care.